It's January 2026. You check your money. Nothing exploded, nothing collapsed. No alarms, no sirens. Which is exactly why this year is dangerous. Because 2026 doesn't look like a turning point. It feels like a continuation. Same apps, same conversations, same vague sense that things are basically fine. But under the surface, the rules have already changed. Here's what makes this moment different. For most of the past decade, money lived in a world of distortion. Interest rates near zero, cheap debt everywhere. Asset prices floating higher not because things were productive, but because money itself was cheap. Then inflation showed up and ruined the illusion. Rates jumped, fast, aggressively. Everyone focused on the shock. Very few paid attention to the delay. Because finance doesn't react instantly. It reacts on a lag. Think of the economy like a long hallway of doors. Rate hikes don't slam all the doors at once. They close them one by one, over years. In 2026, a lot of those doors finally meet resistance. Mortgages reset, corporate debt refinances, governments roll over bonds issued in a much cheaper era. The bill doesn't arrive dramatically, it arrives quietly, as higher monthly payments, lower hiring, more caution. And caution compounds. Here's the uncomfortable math most people miss. When interest rates stay higher for longer, it's not just borrowers who feel it, it's everyone. Businesses stop chasing nice-to-have projects. They focus on survival returns. Governments spend more on interest and less on everything else. Households delay decisions that create growth. Nothing breaks, everything slows. At the same time, inflation never fully leaves. Not the scary spikes, the boring kind. 2 to 3% every year. On rent, on food, on insurance, on services you can't opt out of. That sounds small until you stretch the timeline. At 3% inflation, money loses roughly a quarter of its value in 10 years, almost half in 25. No crash required. Meanwhile, markets will likely look optimistic. Some years up, some years flat. New stories, new buzzwords. There will be plenty of confident voices explaining why this cycle is different. There always are. That's the irony. The loudest optimism usually shows up when the system is quietly tightening. 2026 isn't a boom year. It isn't a collapse year. It's a sorting year. A year where outcomes start diverging, not because people suddenly became smarter or dumber, but because earlier decisions begin to compound at different speeds. If your money depends on constant growth, cheap borrowing, or inflation magically disappearing, this year exposes that assumption. If your money is structured to move even when conditions are average, this year barely makes a sound. Zoom out far enough, and 2026 isn't about markets at all. It's about momentum. Financial systems don't reward urgency, they reward positioning. Most people won't remember anything specific about this year. No defining headline, no iconic crash. Just a subtle shift in what becomes harder and what quietly becomes impossible to catch up to. So here's the real question 2026 asks without ever saying it out loud. When the next decade looks back at this moment, will it feel like the year nothing happened, or the year everything quietly locked into place?